Good afternoon, everybody. I think the first thing I'd like to do is very quickly put everything into some context with some quick key facts on Ukraine and doing business there. So Ukraine is a large, developed consumer market. There are 6 cities with more than 1 million people. There's a highly educated workforce and low labour costs. Ukraine is in a strategic location between Europe and Asia. There's a broad, although ageing, industrial base, and Ukraine is a world leader in agriculture. There's lots of potential there. And last but not least, significant natural resources, including oil, gas, and coal. Sorry. Growth in global prices for agricultural and steel commodities have given the boost to the economy. GDP grew 2.3% in the second quarter of this year, and it's expected to be around 2% for the year. We're seeing a growth in consumption and consumer confidence. We had a recent meeting with British businesses working in Ukraine, and the mood was positive. Latest figures for August show production rising in mining and metallurgy and energy supply. Industrial production recovered by 1.2 year-on-year in August. As you can see here, Ukraine is ranked 76th in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business survey for 2018, and that is a rise of 4%. In fact, Ukraine was the most improved country on that ranking between 2010 and 2017. You can see here also the Fitch ratings, and I should say that Ukraine is a political and trade priority for the UK with the transition to the EU-Ukraine free trade agreement. We're working on a bilateral agreement at the moment. You can see some of the big-name UK companies that are working in Ukraine, and the UK is in fact the 6th largest investor in the country. So moving swiftly on to mining. There are more than 20,000 deposits and ore occurrences in the country, 117 varieties of minerals, with a market value estimated around $7.5 trillion in 2014. About half of these reserves are thought to have commercial value, and they're the basis for more than 2,000 mining and processing enterprises. But the sector's not even close to being fully developed. Only a few industries, steel, cement and petroleum, have fully developed production cycle. Some of them are just missing the last stage. For example, titanium has a strong raw material base, but doesn't produce titanium rolling. There are opportunities for renewing technologies, improving environmental performance and health and safety and so on, but there's currently a lack of large-scale investments in exploration, extraction and processing, with only a small number of international strategic investors. The conflict in eastern Ukraine has resulted in great disruption, as most of the design institutes, many equipment suppliers and some of the assets are in the east of the country, but there are companies working there who've made adjustments and found ways to conduct their business. Coal is the main fossil fuel in Ukraine. Ukraine has approximately 4% of world coal reserves. It's in the top 10 world leaders by volume of proven reserves. As you can see from the map there, the main deposits are in the east, in the Donetsk Basin, in the Dnipropetrovsk Basin, and in the west, around Lviv. So a major challenge preventing investment is the fact that you have the conflict in the east of the country. Some of these areas are not currently under the control of the Ukrainians. In fact, 57% of the total number of mines are located in those areas. But of the 90 mines that are in areas under the control of Ukraine, 25 are currently operating in production mode. The industry has suffered from years and years of neglect, and the future of the industry will depend on investment. So there are opportunities there for the taking, if you like. Even with the drop in production over the last couple of years, Ukraine remains a reliable and important supplier for many countries, Slovakia and Turkey, to name a couple. Key players on the market are the DTEC Group in the private sector. They carry out electricity generation and distribution into alternative energy and gas production, and they have companies in 11 regions of Ukraine and employ over 75,000 people. There are also proposals to form a national coal company comprising 33 state-owned mines. Ukraine also has large reserves of iron ore. They total more than 27 billion tonnes. Production in 2015 was 172 million tonnes, and that's both underground mining and quarries. Exports increased in 2015 by 12%, mainly to China, the Czech Republic, Poland, Austria, Germany and Slovakia. Ukraine's iron and steel industries are very important segments of the economy because of the machine building and metalworking industries which depend on the production of ferrous and non-ferrous metals. Again, some of the deposits are on care and maintenance at the moment, but others are operating. Some examples of ongoing projects: underground ore mining company ArcelorMittal Kryvyi Rih in Dnipropetrovsk region will invest $267 million in modernisation this year. They produced 7.5 million tonnes of steel in the past year, and they talk about the proximity to the Black Sea as a great advantage. There will be $1 billion of investment by 2020. Metinvest are the largest Ukrainian mining and metallurgy holding, ranked 37th in the list of the world's largest steel producers. And an interesting fact is 5,000 tonnes of Metinvest hot roll plates produced by Spartan in Newcastle was used in the steelwork for the Shard. Metinvest intends to invest around over $300 million in environmental projects in Mariupol between now and 2022. And iron ore pellets producer Ferry Export has key assets in Ukraine, and they saw a six-fold rise in net profit in 2016. So lots of examples of companies that are finding it worth a while to operate in Ukraine. Other mineral reserves: Ukraine has very large manganese ore deposits, some of the world's largest in south-central Ukraine. Again, investment in existing production facilities is required, as well as identifying potential sites for manganese ores. There's a titanium deposit in Dnipropetrovsk region, which is said to have virtually unlimited reserves, important for building rockets, submarines, and so on. There's a US project, CMC Cometals and Velta LLC intend to build a mining complex in Kirovograd, thanks to a $30 million investment. There are modest recoverable reserves of uranium, raw materials for aluminium production, and the rare metals that you can see there. My colleagues have talked about DIT's activities in the market to support UK companies. I just wanted to flag up one event that we are planning in March next year. I've spoken about the need for facilities to be renewed, and their ports are probably one of the most important areas that need investment. So we will be arranging a showcase of UK companies in Odessa in March, workshops and seminars related to bulk cargo. And the last slide just has some useful links for you. Please do speak to me later if you'd like any more information. Thank you very much.